Listen, I have a message of life for a particular group of people in America, which is the young black male in particular, but really most of all, black America. I got a very strong, serious message for you, and I hope you take it as strong and as serious as I give it to you, because it comes from my heart, and it also comes from a lot of knowledge and paying attention to this. But before I get started, I'm going to say right now, I have not a one bit of understanding about the plight or being an urban black man or human in America, much less the urban areas. I did spend a large portion of my life in the South, and I was raised with poor country folks, so I know country folks and I know country community. Okay, and super poor. So, but where you were able to take care of each other. So before I get started, I just want to say I'm not some social justice warrior. I'm just a amateur historian and a brother that cares. And I hate the powers that be. I hate the kings that think they are in power over all of us. So I just want to tell you that the way things are today have been planned for you. Everything from the way you dress to the music you listen to the attitude, the world's largest in history prison system. All this has been created just for you.
How many times I've said it? I've said the same very thing time after time. This is why this video is so important. Pay attention.
A lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, but I'm going to tell you why. They want to. It's basically a good way of controlling and depopulating or keeping a population. If you'll notice, the black population in America hardly ever rises over 12 or 13%. It usually stays a steady 10 to 13%. That's strange when others seem to fluctuate, go up and down. You gotta kind of look at that and take it with more than a grain of salt. But in the early 70s, after the LBJ, the Lyndon Johnson, President Johnson, they started the Civil Rights Act. They wanted to make you a minority, make you dependent on the government, make you think that they were there to help you. And all the time, the plan was just to destroy the black family.
Bingo. Bingo. This is why all these governmental assisted programs were created. The House, Section 8. It was created to remove the responsibility of the black man out of the home. Now the government becomes dependent. So when the government say, hey, I need this document, how much money you making? They all in your business. You quick to follow suit with them and respect them. But when it comes to the man, you don't have to respect because he don't pay your bills. The government do. It was all designed. And the crazy part about it is they got a lot of our black women sold by the neck. To some of them don't even want to advance. They don't want to get a better job because they feel like they're going to get kicked off the program.
All they want to do is get Section 8.
Like I say, I'm not going to be a lawyer or nothing. Just want to be Section 8. How you blame the oppressor and not the oppressed. Pay close attention.
It was to rip you apart. Proof of this is just later on in the Nixon administration. I believe it was in 73, the Roe versus Wade decision came up to legalize abortion. And the black mother back then was still very strong. The family unit was still very intact. So they knew that they couldn't do it just by saying, hey, it's legal to get rid of a baby. Nobody would do that. But when you make it a right, when you make it something that they're holding against you or a woman's right to choose, they use a lot of psychological warfare on that one, that's for sure. But it wasn't for women's rights so much as it was to depop. They had predicted, the government looks at statistics, and they had predicted that there was going to be this super giant rise in the late 80s and early 90s, and especially in the 90s, of urban youth, black youth, all right? And this was going to cause a lot of gang violence. This could even be a takeover of the cities. They even had movies about it in the 70s, like The Warriors, where the gangs were going to take over. And some guy named, I think his name was Cyrus, was going to take over. And but anyway, they really feared this. So they basically decided to allow the criminal to be killed before it was born. And I say that because that's the way it was. That's the way this plan was laid out. That's why this really happened. It was so they could kill this population wave that was coming up, that they knew was coming up, and it would be in the urban areas, which would probably cause more gang violence and takeovers of the cities, like I said. Now, you go from that, then you look at how they flooded the streets with during the 80s with the crack. It hit the urban areas the hardest. The other more class-related areas of town, the partying was always with the powder. No, the crack hit the urban cities, and this also caused a lot of violence and caused a lot of killing each other.
Man, I love this video. Listen, it's so correct. You see how he
white boy telling you
crack cocaine hit the urban and in the suburban areas, they had powder. Now I'm finna prove to you how we know it's another entity that's bringing that in. Because as long as you've been on the streets, have you ever seen a person turn a poppy plant to cocaine? Pay close attention.
About that time, the Clinton administration, y'all think the Clintons were big liberals. The Clinton administration was trying to figure out a way of marking you as a criminal, as having a thug mentality. So probably starting around 91, I believe, they started to infiltrate the prison system, especially I believe in Cochran, California, and they started making that popular. Matter of fact, I hate to tell you, brothers, this, but many of y'all have been infiltrated by the CIA and the FBI to promote a lot of things. The music, but anyway, the bust and the sag and the flat brim hat, the Nikes. Look how many people get murdered over Nikes. Now that's just a thing, but it's also a marker. This would show a fashion that would lean towards a thug mentality, so they could actually mark you in the street and see you. They wouldn't have to ask your ID. They could just say, "Hey, that guy's most likely," because they go by statistics. Is most likely to be a thug. He thinks like that. He dresses like that. So apparently he is like that. That way they can come at you. And guess what? When you're holding your britches, you can't really run. So part of that was to make it a little bit easier to capture.
That was a setup.
So if you did try to run, or it probably makes you more likely to stand and just face the officer, you might get away with it because you're not doing nothing.
Stupid.
How many times does the police come up on you and you're not doing nothing and you got away with it? So I just want to ask you that. Because that part of America is
Jack you from nothing.
That's the other thing.
Just set up.
Around the same time, the rap music started getting really big, but also that music leaned towards criminal behavior, treating women bad, money, you know, everything for you, bling, all that, take it, it's yours. But there was no censorship of that. And you think that the music, well, they didn't censor our music. They don't censor nobody's music. Well, I just want to say at that same time period, the heavy metal, especially the thrash metal, bands like Megadeth and Metallica. Look at the Metallica album, Injustice for All. It's about the New World Order, about how the shadow government takes us. How all the things about the government, the PMRC back then, which was a regulatory thing for music, they labeled their music. They didn't label anybody else's music, but it was allowed to go. And even when people spoke out about it and said this mentality is actually destructive, the music is great. The telling a story of urban life is great, but some of this has turned into look at how everybody started to act, and they see people on TV and they see people in the music industry acting a certain way. This also caused a lot of murder, a lot of gang violence, a lot of killing of each other. They have you killing each other is the whole point I'm trying to tell you, brothers. This is planned on you through fashion, through music, through social media, through the television, through laws, through the prison system. They got you thinking that some of you fellas thinking that it's cool to go to prison, like you're going to go get your mark and that's going to show that you're tough. They give you all these things to die for. I die for my dogs. I die for my brother. I die for my gang. I die for my people. They never give you nothing to live for, brothers. Oh my God, I hope you can see the evil in that. They took away teaching you anything about real life, mothering of the woman, the being the sister, being the man of the house. And it's all to get something, money and hoes, having all the women you can have, just doing this, that, and other. And look, they took the man out of the home. I told you before, in 1964, which is actually when they started to destroy you, the black family was 78% intact. And today it's 7% intact. Mm-hmm. And you're just, and the black people are just right behind, like white people in abortions, but you're only 13% of the population. Mm. So that's way more. See what I'm saying? So now you times it like by 6. That's how many more of your, what you want to say, your people. And I don't care about it, labels, y'all. I get labeled and I don't care. What I am is a brother that knows the truth about your history. Let's just say since the 60s. I'm not going to go way back. See, that's the other thing. They don't teach you nothing in school except for about the bad things of history. They don't teach you in school about how the original man, the original civilization, the kings of old. I mean, they never teach you that. That's us. They take away the people that build nations, build black nations like they did to Gaddafi. Look what they did to that man in Libya. They keep you down this way by making you fight each other. Now, that's the biggest point that I'm going to make to you right now. They have you doing their dirty work for you. So please research why they popularized busing and sag. Please research why the rap music was allowed to stay violent towards women and criminal towards getting money for drug use. Please research we are the largest
lyrics. They didn't let that happen with nobody
and
else.
about 80% black. And down in the South, it's like 85 to 87% black. Look at the inner city murder rates and look at how it applies to you.
This is facts. Man, we've been born and raised to hate and kill each other. I keep telling you, when a hunter take a blade and put blood on it, hide the blade in the snow, and then a wolf walk up, smell the blood, he start licking the blade, not knowing he just cut himself, but he's still licking, not knowing he licking his own blood until he died. You cannot blame the wolf for trying to eat. You have to blame the hunter, the oppressor. I keep telling y'all, this is a setup. Ain't nobody that stupid or dumb to figure this out. It's a setup. From the music, the clothing, our fashion, they done took everything from us. Everything, and turned it around. Pay close attention.
And look how they also got white America fearing the thug mentality, but having you thinking that's your culture and that's your style and that's the way we're going to be. So they keep enemies just through fashion and music. Just through fashion and music, which actually should be things of beauty. Fashion was supposed to be showing yourself out, and music supposed to calm the savage beast or be a release and expression of who you are and how you feel. That part of that music was amazing. But they allow the twist. They pay a lot of your brothers off. And y'all know it. And when other brothers stand up in the modern day, like Tupac Shakur, they got shot down. When Michael Jackson even stood up, he killed himself in his bed, or he was demonized. You see what I'm saying? Anybody that tries to tell you the truth, that's in that world you're living in.
They gotta go.
They get killed. And guess what? It gets killed through violence. And they promote violence. You didn't do this. This isn't what you made for yourself. This was made for you. So please see that. Take back your culture. Take back your lives. Live your lives. Stay outside. America's a country where you're supposed to be able to live like you want wherever you live. So do that. Don't forget that. Quit worrying about what people that don't like
Is
you think
that what
about
the
stick
story
with
of
the
the
people
Pale
that are your
Horseman is
brother,
about?
Oh, what you know
your
about
tribe.
Pale Horse?
People that want to coexist.
Somebody-
People that want to live their way like me.
By Michael
And
Cooper.
coexist with you, my
I
brother.
read it years ago.
I don't want to be
He
killed.
talked about the barcode that we got on all these products a long time before it happened.
Yeah.
He's an intelligence labor officer, and he get all the stuff at his desk. By the time that book came out, he was dead. He even said it in the book. By the time the book came out, he'd probably be dead, and he was. He disguised it as he put a picture on the front that looked like a fantasy book, with a unicorn and all that shit. And he got it out there, and it published. I can show you it. Amazing. I had it.
Somebody told me I should read that book, and then I found it.
You did find it, read it.
And I found it on the ground, I think twice.
Read it.
And motherfucker stole it from me.
See, I had that book in my library. Sure does.
Really to the point, you know what I'm saying? Minus all the other crap.
Behold a Pale Horse. That's an awesome book. I had this shit in